So this class is all about Research 1. And for senior high school, under the K-12 curriculum, you actually have Research 1, Research 2, at saka yung III, which is actually Research 3. So you will be doing a lot of research papers for senior high school. So one nga yung grade 11 second semester, another one for grade 12 first semester, and another one for grade 12 second semester. Okay, so I'm sure most of you have already done research in one way or another, especially in grade 10 kasi talagang technical writing and research papers kasama siya doon sa supposedly learning competencies under the English subject. Okay? Pero I know na most of you, when you think of research, ang pumapasok lagi sa isip ninyo is, number one, it's either you go to the library and you check the dictionary, you check the encyclopedias and other books na merong definition or examples or discussion about that topic. And for those of you na hindi na very familiar when it comes to using the library, most of you, pagka sinabi ng teacher na you have to research about a certain topic or a certain concept, ang common na ginagawa ninyo is that you go to your cell phones, you open your Google search engine, and then you type keywords on it, tapos enter nyo yon, tapos kung ano yung lumabas doon sa Google search ninyo, yun na yung mga sources na gagamitin ninyo. Tapos ika-copy-paste nyo siya doon sa Word file ninyo, kakopyahin nyo siya sa notebook nyo, tapos isasubmit nyo na siya. Tama ba ako? Can I see a thumbs up sign for those na ginawa na ito when they were in junior high school? Or until now, ginagawa pa rin ito? Ayan, napakabilis ng reaction ni Ivan. So sabi niya, common talaga sa kanya yon. Ayan si James. Okay. How about the other students? Can you say with conviction na kayo ay hindi nag-Google at hindi nagka-copy-paste ng sources from Google doon sa mga pinapasubmit na modules ng teachers ninyo? Ayan, dumami na yung nag-react. Oh. Okay. So, in some ways, what you are doing is really a part of research. Pero later on, and as we go further into our discussion, sana ma-realize niyo that doing a Google search or going to the library is not the entirety of the research process. So, it is a part of it. May isang aspeto ng research process where you will be using different search engines and databases. Pero hindi ito yung 100%, hindi niya nakaka-capture yung essence ng research by just Googling it. So, we will discuss later on ano ba yung mga parts na kasama doon sa pag-google ninyo at ano yung hindi na nako-cover nung usual na ginagawa ninyo when you do your research. Okay? So, ayan. So, before we start our discussion, we have several essential questions. So, these are questions that you should be able to answer at the end of our discussion. Okay? Kumbaga, ito yung focus natin for today. So, the essential questions is, what is research? And to what extent is research important in our daily lives? Okay? So, ayan yung ating mga research questions. Later on, I will call students from the class to share their ideas, to share their learnings, and answer these essential questions. Okay, so ayan. Let's start. So, sabi niya dito, by definition, research is a scientific process that focuses on being objective and gathering information for analysis in order to establish facts and reach new conclusions. So sabi niya dito, number one, yung naka-underline na important keyword is that research is a scientific process. So when we say process kasi, it means that there are several steps that we do in a chronological order. Hindi pwedeng kung ano lang yung gusto mong gawin ngayon, yun na yung gagawin mo. So dapat sunod-sunod siya. There is an order to it chronologically. This is the first step, and after finishing that step, this is the second step. So it's a process. And research is a scientific process. So we follow this process. Ito siya, yung bilog na to. This is the scientific method. So we always start with what we call as observations. And when we say observations, ibig sabihin, we try to take note of details of information using our senses about the world that we live in. So isa sa mga information or isa sa mga ideas na nabasa ko kahapon from doon sa mga sinabmit na reflection paper, sabi ni, sino ba yung nagsabi nito? Sabi niya, let's be thirsty for more knowledge. Okay? So dapat, sabi niya ganun, ano yan, we are always hungry or we are always eager to learn more. And we learn more about the world around us, about the issues that is happening in our community when we observe. So kung mapapansin niyo yung mga bata, kung may mga kapatid kayo na mga 3 years old, 4 years old, ganyan, or kung may mga pamangkin, pinsan kayo sa bahay, na within that age, kung mapapansin niyo ang dami nilang tanong. Dami nilang tanong sa buhay. Bakit kulay blue yung langit? Ba't kulay green yung mga halaman? Bakit maalat yung dagat? Bakit may ulan? Bakit kumukulog? Saan nanggagaling yung kidlat? Okay. So marami sila kasing na-observe about the world that they live in. And because of these observations, they form what we call as your questions. Kaya minsan, ang dami talaga nilang tanong, sunod-sunod, puro bakit. Kasi they're trying in their mind to establish, ano nga ba itong mundong pinabibilangan ko? Bakit ganito yung mga nangyayari sa mundo ko? Natural ba to na nangyayari? Common ba to na nangyayari? Or ako lang yung nakaka-experience nito? So they are very curious about the world. Kaya they have a lot of questions. Pero ang nangyayari kasi is that when you start to get older, parang hindi na kayo curious about sa mga bagay-bagay. Umuunti na yung mga tanong ninyo, or you are still curious pero hindi na kayo nagtatanong. Kumbaga hindi na kayo ganun ka-hungry or ganun ka-thirsty for knowledge. So sabi nga ng isang student kahapon, so sabi niya, research should teach us the valuable characteristic of always being hungry for new knowledge. So ayan, tinake note ko siya. Thank you for that idea. Nakalimutan ko yung name. Okay. So when we observe our community and the world that we live in, you will notice that our community is not a perfect community. There are always problems na na-encounter, and there are always things that is okay for now, pero there is still a lot of room for improvement. And part of your observations and part of your questions should be about these issues and these things that you should observe in your community. So for example, in Philippines, talagang very normal that we experience a lot of typhoons. Pero hindi ibig sabihin that we experience a lot of typhoons, dapat ma-normalize na sa atin na every year binabaha tayo. So that is a community issue. And for how many years, yun yung problem. And for how many years, hanggang ngayon, wala pa rin solusyon to that issue. Nung nakaraan, meron ng nag-post or nag-voice out ng idea doon na bakit nga daw ba pagka sinabing bagyo, ang mga Pilipino parang nasasanay na lang na every year nasisira yung gamit or nasisira yung bahay or laging binabaha, ganon. Yung resiliency, yung idea of resiliency sa atin, parang hindi na nagiging maganda kasi hinahayaan na lang natin yung problem na tumagal tapos hindi na tayo naghahanap ng solusyon doon. And research can help us find solution to these problems or to make something that is okay even better. So through the process of research, we can achieve that. Pero it has to always start with observation and questions. Kung tayo ay anong tawag dito, yung hahayaan na lang natin yung problem na maging problem. Hindi na natin siya hanapan ng solusyon, di ba? Hindi tayo interested in conducting research. Pero if we want to make our world a better place, then we should always be eager to find solutions or new ideas that will or that is possible to become solutions to these problems. So itong susunod na step, itong search the literature, dyan pumapasok yung Google search ninyo. Pero it's not actually very limited to that. So syempre, easier or more convenient way of finding information is nagsa-search kayo on Google. But there are other ways of gathering data. So for example, you can conduct experiments, you can conduct surveys, you can even interview people, yung family members ninyo, members of the barangay, na pwede ninyong makausap at pwede ninyong mahingan ng ideas or opinion. Okay? So that is still searching literature. And then from there, you test or you propose a certain idea through your hypothesis. So for example, based on the data that you gathered, based on your interview at sa pagbabasa ninyo, sa tingin ninyo, okay to na maging solusyon doon sa annual flooding na na-experience natin. So you are going to say that this is your hypothesis, and then you are going to check if your hypothesis will work or not. So it is a process. At pag natapos yung process na yan, nakapag-come up ka na ng solution, uulit ka ulit. Siyempre, itetest mo yung effectivity, yung efficiency nung na-establish mo na hypothesis. Okay? Another characteristic of research is that it should be objective. So when we say objective, ibig sabihin, parang GMA7, yung walang kinikilingan, walang sinusuportahan, serbisyong totoo lamang. So when we say objective, it means you are not biased, you are not taking sides. So there are instances in research na ito yung expectation mo, ito yung gusto mong mangyari na maging result, pero not all of the time, kung ano yung ina-expect mong result, yun yung lumalabas na results in your study. So being objective means that even if hindi yun yung expectation mo, you still have to, even if it is a failure, you still have to report that as your result. Kasi even mistakes and errors and failures in research is still an additional information, additional knowledge that other people can benefit from. Okay? So part of the research process is we gather information, we analyze this information, and the most important part of the research process is that we establish facts. So sabi dito sa mga input na naibigay kahapon, research daw allows you to learn something new. And it allows you to determine what is true and what is not true. So you can check or verify the veracity of something by conducting research. Another student said that research is finding answers to things that are not known or to things that are unknown. So for example, yung binasa ninyong reading material about the race to find the vaccine for the coronavirus. Okay? So when they established na meron tayong pandemic, di ba, a lot of countries, they volunteered to conduct several research to find vaccines. Nandiyan yung China, syempre, nasa kanila yung unang information, sila yung nagbigay ng initial information to all of the other countries. US also conducted their own research, Russia conducted their own, United Kingdom conducted their own, I think even Australia or New Zealand conducted their own. So we need to find solution to the problem kasi we cannot live under quarantine for the entirety of our lives. So kailangan magawa natin siya ng solusyon. And these countries conducted several research. It costed a lot of money kasi medyo minadali nila yung research process. Pero ayan, so right now we have several vaccines that are available and are still continuing to increase kasi marami pa yung mga research ng vaccines na natatapos na. So one of the first few is yung Pfizer BioNTech, Moderna. Both of them are from US. Sinopharm, Sinovac from China. We have AstraZeneca from UK. So ayan, those are products of research. So sabi nga niya dito, isa sa mga naging ideas ninyo when it comes to research is finding cure to illnesses, to diseases, such as itong vaccine natin. So that is true. We are establishing facts, we are creating something new, creating new theories, creating new concepts, creating new ideas. So that is research. So based on this definition, ano nga ba ang purpose ng research? So of course, number one, the purpose of research is to create solution. So yung ating idea of coronavirus, it is a problem. Kasi syempre, it affects us personally, it affects us economically. May mga nawawalan ng trabaho, may mga namamatayan ng kamag-anak. Alam niyo yung mga yan. So it is a problem and it has to be solved. And the initial solution that we can give is to create a vaccine. So through research, ayan, nakapag-provide naman ng science ng solution. So, another yung example ko sa inyo, if you are experiencing flooding, kailangan ba na hanggang tumanda kayo, magkaanak kayo, at yung magkaapo na kayo, lahat ng, ano yun, for how many generations, is it okay for you na sila ay makaka-experience ng flooding until the end of their lives, hanggang sa kung anong taon na, yun at yun pa rin yung problema? Siyempre, hindi. We, as much as possible, we want our children to inherit a better place, or anong tawag dito? Mas magaan yung magiging buhay nila compared sa atin. So we have to find solution to this flooding. Hindi tayo dapat na nasasanay na lang na, normal na yan. So hindi dapat na normalize yung flooding. After some time, dapat ma-eradicate na natin siya. Okay? And of course, another purpose of research is to improve the quality of life. Ito yung majority ng sagot na nabasa ko kahapon. The improvement of the quality of life. So sabi nila, important daw ang research kasi it allows us to have certain conveniences such as yung cellphones na ginagamit ninyo. So sabi nila, it's very easy daw at this time to communicate with other people. It's very easy daw to access information. And sabi pa nung isa, even though we are in a pandemic now, sabi niya, we are still able to continue our education kasi research provided us with equipments, tools, and gadgets that will allow us to do things in a more comfortable manner. So, totoo naman. So, dati, kapag gusto mo makapag-communicate, ang form of communication nila is through letters and matagal bago mo ma-receive yung letter. Pero ngayon, in an instant, in just a second, you can send a message to your family members. So for example, if you have parents who are working abroad, if you have friends na hindi mo nakita mula nung nag-lockdown, you can still stay connected kasi you have these kinds of gadgets. Okay? So, meron pang, anong tawag dito? Meron nagbigay ng example doon, yung tao na nag-invent ng internet, yung mga taong nag-invent ng computer. So, all of those are actually improvements to the quality of life. So, everything now, sabi niya, is easier and more convenient because of research. And then, of course, another purpose of research is to increase knowledge. So, sabi niyo nga, di ba, research allows you to learn something new, to find answers to problems, to find answers to things that are unknown. Diba sabi niya, it allows you to answer questions with convictions kasi supported siya ng facts and evidences. So generally, it increases what we know. So definitely you can say that you know more now compared to people 10 years ago. Kasi more research was conducted in the span of a decade na hindi nila alam dati. Okay, so sabi ko nga in research, whether the result is a failure or a success, it is still an additional information. So regardless kung palpak siya or hindi, dapat nire-report at sinishare pa rin natin yung result ng ating research. Kasi it is still additional information that other people can benefit from. Okay? So, ayan yung importance ng research. Okay? Nakikita ninyo sa picture, number one, syempre talagang improvement on the quality of life. In terms of transportation, dati matagal ang traveling because we only depend on horses and other farm animals for us to travel from one location to another. And then we have this engine that is powered by diesel and gasoline. And then ngayon, we are not only traveling in large distances, pero we are traveling while being sustainable to the environment. So ngayon, in other countries, medyo mas uso na siya. May mga companies na such as Tesla who are creating cars that are environmentally friendly. So yung mga electronic cars, ayan. So you don't need gasoline. You just charge, parang phone mo, charge mo na lang yung kotse mo, and then you can use it for the following day up to a certain mileage. And then of course, itong example ng light natin from an incandescent bulb na hindi maliwanag, naging fluorescent light na naging maliwanag pero magastos sa kuryente. Tapos naging LED light na siya ngayon na maliwanag na siya at the same time hindi pa ganun kataas yung power consumption. Okay? So at this point in time, I will be calling certain students, lalong-lalo na yung mga hindi ko pa nakikita yung inyong mga reflection paper. So I want you to share in class, what do you think, or in your opinion, why is research important, and can you give certain examples of how you benefit from research in your everyday life? Okay, so let's start calling. I want to hear from si John Paul. Ayan. Si John Paul, hindi ko pa nabasa yung kanyang reflection paper. Kuya John Paul, can you share your ideas on the importance of research?
Ma'am, ganun din po, ma'am. It will improve our daily life. Katulad po nung sa cellphone po, dati po, di ba, wala po tayong kunyari letters lang po. Tapos ngayon po, kahit 1 second na lang po, pwede na po tayo mag-send na message.
Okay, thank you, Kuya John Paul. How about si Abigail Reyes? Abigail, can you share your ideas? Nasaan na si Abigail?
Chair.
Ayan. Yes po.
Chair, you can answer the problem in the society po.
Can you give one problem na sa tingin mo kailangan i-solve or sa tingin mo na i-solve na ng research? Asan na? Nawala na si Abigail. Okay, let's call another one. Seiya.
Po, Chair, nai-improve po yung quality ng life. Tsaka po, nagiging instant po yung mga bagay-bagay. Mas napapadali po yung pamumuhay ng tao. Kagaya po ng po, dati po, ang ginagamit lang po na pangluto yung diuling na lutuan po. Tapos ngayon po, meron na pong mga ibang gadgets na pwedeng gamitin. Meron pong chargeable. Pwede rin po yung ginagamit na gas. Yun po.
Ayan, thank you, Seiya. Ayan, very concrete example yan ng product of research na nagagamit natin in our everyday lives. Can you imagine yung mga lolo at lola ninyo before na para makakain sila ng 7 a.m., kailangan na nilang gumising ng 5 a.m. Kasi kailangan pa nilang magparinas ng uling before sila makapagluto. Okay, di ba? Pero ngayon, napakadali ng magluto. Isang pindot mo lang, meron ka ng fire. At ngayon, very convenient na yung mga appliances ngayon. So, I think a few years, I think this year lang or late last year, nauso yung air fryer, di ba? Alam kong pangarap ng mga magulang nyo yan kung wala pa silang air fryer. Kasi talaga namang napaka-convenient niya. At the same time, healthier na yung napoprovide niya na food para sa atin. Tapos syempre, cheaper siya kasi hindi mo na kailangang bumili ng mantika, di ba? Healthy pa dahil hindi ganon kataas yung fat content nung kakainin ninyong fried product. So thank you very much, Seiya. I will continue calling out